I saw Superman last weekend and I want to take a moment to talk about it and just give my overall thoughts, just a review of the movie that I've been anticipating since the announcement. I was really excited for this to come out. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but I appreciate the character and what he's done for the comics, and I've been wanting a good Superman movie for a minute. So we're going to start by talking about the characters in the movie. I think David Cornsred crushed it in this role. He did a really good Superman. He was very charismatic, lighthearted, um, cared about the little people, which I think is something we have been missing from Superman movies recently. And I think he did an amazing Clark Kent. He did a good job with like that Boy Scout vibe that Superman and Clark Kent can sometimes have, where they're just really nice people, and it can be kind of off-putting how nice they are. And I really appreciated that. He had great chemistry with Rachel Brosnahan. I don't know how to say that name. Who played Lois Lane? Amazing chemistry across the board there, and great chemistry with Nicholas Holt. You could believe they disliked each other in this movie, and I appreciated that. Speaking of, Lois Lane was incredible in this movie. She did a really good job. The actress crushed it, and I think it was a side of Lois we haven't seen for a minute. The chemistry between the two of them was really good, like I said earlier. But she also gave off that hard hitting journalism vibe that Lois Lane should have. And then Nicholas Holt kind of surprised me with Lex Luthor. Honestly, I was not expecting this to be good. And I feel kind of bad about that. But to me, Nicholas Holt didn't seem to have the kind of personality to fit Lex Luthor. And I understand he's an actor, but I can't think of a lot of roles he's been in. And I think that's part of the issue is that I didn't know how good of an actor he was before going into this movie. And I think he knocked it out of the park as Lex Luthor. This is maybe my favorite Lex Luthor. It's only up for competition against gosh, what was the name of the last Lex Luthor? I feel bad here because he is really good. If it makes anybody feel better, I just don't know the name of any actor. I called Nicholas Holt Jesse Eisenberg a couple days ago, and that was disappointing. Michael Rosenberg is who I'm talking about. Michael Rosenberg is probably the my second favorite or favorite for Lex Luthor, but I think Nicholas Holt is at least in that conversation now. And I'm excited to see if they do anything else with the character because I think there is some more that can be done there. And then Nathan Fillion knocked it out of the park as Guy Gardner as well. I'm not a huge Guy Gardner fan, like most people. If we're being honest, Guy Gardner isn't necessarily the most popular Green Lantern. There's Hal Jordan, there's John Stewart. Guy Gardner is often most people's third place, even though there's way more than three, but he's not really the favorite of a lot of Green Lantern fans. He does have some cool things about him. I love that they did the comic accurate haircut. I know a lot of people were making fun of it before the movie came out, but that's what Guy Gardner looks like. And then I like that they gave him like that cocky attitude, a little bit childish, because I think that fits the character really well and plays into Nathan Fillion's strength as an actor. I think he plays that kind of character really well. So I think this was a solid choice. I'm excited to see if he interacts with the other lanterns in the Lantern TV show. But that means I might need to get HBO Max because I cannot, at the moment, watch DC shows. So I need to figure that out. But Nathan Fillion did an amazing job. I love him as an actor already. And he did just really well as Green Lantern. And then we have Isabella Mossad, who is Hawkgirl. So I think Hawkgirl was decent. I hated her costume. I also hated Green Lantern's costume, but I understand what they're going for because it's pretty much supposed to be that they're working for somebody else. So they're wearing Maxwell Lord's like uniform costume. And I can understand that. It's just a little disappointing to see like Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl wearing ridiculous outfits when they have such iconic costumes in the comics. But going away from the costumes a little bit, I think Isabella Merced did well. I think the character was underutilized. Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific and Madame Morpho seem to have gotten more on-screen presence than Hawkgirl. Like she had a few good moments, like the fight in the air kind of thing. But overall, I think Hawkgirl was not utilized as much as the other side characters, which is a little disappointing. And then the engineer was really cool. I am not going to try to pronounce her name, but she did a pretty good job there. Also, Jimmy Olsen was incredible. Tyler Gizondo, I don't know if that's how you say his name either, did a very good job as Jimmy Olsen. And I like the whole a little bit of a confusing playboy aspect that they put off. Eve was really cool. I think she was a good comic relief in this movie. And just a weird character to toss in there, but I get it. Frank Grillo as Rick Flag was interesting to see, but I don't think they did much with him in this. I think it's pretty much a tease for future projects. I don't understand why Cat Grant was in the movie other than she's attractive. She didn't do much um at all. But I mean, I didn't mind her being there. And then Anthony Carrigan did amazing as Metamorpho. Metamorpho is an odd character to put in this movie. I went with a friend that had no clue who Metamorpho was. And it was cool to see him as kind of like a foil to Superman and his later moments in the movie, which I won't spoil because I don't want to get into spoilers right now. But it was interesting to see Metamorpho in a project at all. So I appreciated that he was there. And then Alan Tudyk was one of the Superman robots. That was a cool little thing. Sean Gunn was Maxwell Lord for like one scene, but that was still interesting. I'm just looking at the list of actors on Google because I'm so bad with names. I do not know how to pronounce the actor that played Mr. Terrific. It's Eddie Gethegi. I don't know if that's accurate. He did amazingly as Mr. Terrific, though. So he previously played Darwin in X-Men First Class. And I'm not saying he did a bad job as Darwin. I think the character was just wasted. And the character left the movie in a kind of ridiculous way. But he really redeemed himself as Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific might be one of the highlights of the movie for me. His fight scene was incredible. And just the character overall was really funny, but also showed that he was really capable to the degree where, like, why is Green Lantern leading the team? You know, the people they picked for the Kents did amazingly. There was John Kent and Ma Kent, Martha. I think it's Martha because you know that ridiculous moment from Zack Snyder's movies. But the Kents were really cool. I liked seeing them. They had some really touching moments there, and it makes me worried about whether or not John Kent will be killed in the next movie. But that's okay. Wendell Pierce did incredibly as Perry White. I think that was a really good casting choice. And then I think that's all of the characters that we need to cover here. Oh, Crypto. How did I forget Crypto? Crypto was certainly a highlight of the movie. He was hilarious. It showed that, you know, a superpowered dog that might not be trained very well can be a problem, which I know in a lot of Superman comics, Superman ends up training Crypto, but I don't know if that's the direction that they're going to go with because of something that happens near the end of the movie. But seeing Crypto was really cool, and the character added a lot to the movie. He did help Superman a couple of times, which we'll talk about that in a second because I think some people are upset. You know what? Let's talk about it right now. People think that this Superman was too weak, and I don't agree with that. So this isn't a spoiler, but at the beginning of the movie, it is established that metahumans have existed for 300 years, 3 centuries. And it's established that Superman has existed for 3 years and has been the strongest metahuman. Now, let's put it out there. Superman's not necessarily a metahuman, he's just an alien, but he's been the strongest for 3 years. The movie opens with him having lost his first fight. He's been a metahuman for 3 years, lost his first fight. Later in the movie, it's revealed why he lost that first fight. And that character is pretty much the only one that is beating Superman the entire movie. It's not like he keeps losing to other people. People say that he loses every fight he's in, which I don't agree with because he wins so many fights. Like, that one character keeps beating him. And then people mention the kaiju fight, which that was in trailers and everything. I don't understand why people are saying he was doing badly in that fight. The point of the fight was he was trying to protect people in the area. There's a lot of scenes of him saving people, even some animals. He was not struggling with the fight itself. He was trying to reduce collateral damage. And that's made pretty apparent in that scene if you fully watch it. I do think there's a lot of negativity around this movie just from people that miss the Zack Snyder DC universe. And I'll tell you, I'm a big hater of the Snyder movies, but I think it's because he didn't capture the heart of the character. I think this Superman captures the heart of the character. Like, yeah, a lot of property damage is done in Metropolis, but if you watch the fight scenes in this, his main focus is protecting everybody around him. And that should be what Superman is like. And I think this movie did a good job of showing us that. He's there for the little guy. He's not there to protect himself. He takes a lot of heavy hits in this movie, but he's there for everybody else. And then I think it does show that there's a difference. So, like, Zack Snyder's Superman was pretty much seen as a god by the people. And I think there's a little bit of an aspect of that here. But you see all of the kids loving Superman. And then there's a moment where the public turns on him a bit. And you see the fear, which is understandable. He's not treated as much of a god figure as he was in the Snyder films. But as soon as there's a concern about his intentions, it's very apparent that everybody realizes, oh, there's not much we can do about this guy. And that is an interesting thing to put in this movie. I really appreciated it. I love, like I said, the quirkiness, the Boy Scout attitude that Superman has in this. I love how colorful this movie is. It's been dark movies for DC for a little bit, and I think it's nice to throw a splash of color in there, especially as a comic book movie. Comic books are pretty colorful a lot of the time. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie and you don't want it to be spoiled at all, I would click off the video right now. And that's a totally reasonable thing to do, but I do want to talk a bit about spoilers. So, I loved the plot of this movie. I think Lex Luthor using Ultraman and shouting commands to him was a really interesting way to show Lex Luthor using his genius to fight Superman. And I think the Ultraman reveal was too obvious. I think that's probably my biggest gripe with the movie is you have this scene where the engineer says, hey, I don't know how we're going to get into this fortress. And then Lex Luthor just walks up to the fortress. And in that moment, you're like, oh, it's probably Ultraman. or I was like, it's probably Ultraman. And then there's a scene where Superman goes back to the Fortress of Solitude. And it's like, how did they get in? This is keyed to my DNA. And it's like, oh, so Ultraman's a clown. That's 100. It was way too obvious in that moment to me that Ultraman was a clown. I don't understand how nobody else saw that. And I don't really have a lot of other gripes about the movie. I don't have a lot of other issues with it. I think it's very much a comic book movie. It doesn't have to be the best written movie. It just has to be a comic book type movie. And I want to explain what I mean by that a little bit. So I think it was the Escape Pod podcast, which I really enjoy, pointed out that a lot of the movies, or a lot of other movies, if somebody did like Lex Luthor speech, where he's talking about how he only wanted to kill Superman, everything else he's done has been to be able to kill Superman. A lot of other movies, people would be like, that was a bad villain speech. I mean, the motivation there wasn't necessarily the best written motivation, but for a comic book movie, it makes a lot of sense. Lex Luthor wants to kill Superman because he hates Superman. That's the gist of it. And Lex Luthor showing a little bit of vulnerability there and saying, like, oh, I want to kill you because I'm jealous of you, also makes sense. That's a very Lex Luthor thing to do. I will say it sucks that Frank Grillo didn't dye his hair white for this, but he had some conflicting scheduling there, so he couldn't really have white hair. Like I said, I don't completely understand why Cat Grant was in this movie. I understand she works for the Daily Planet, but like, was she necessary to put in there? The Kents were really good in this. I loved the scene at the end of the movie where he's like, show me my parents, and it's the Kents. I know a lot of people are upset that they changed his parents' origin a bit to tell him that he should conquer Earth. And I'm not sure why people are upset. So, there are a lot of comic books where his dad is seen as like a beacon of hope. Like his dad gives him advice. There's like an AI thing on his ship sometimes. I don't know if it would be called AI, but it's like a hologram. But there are also comics where his dad's a bad person. And I think there's a chance that the footage was still doctored. I see a lot of theories online that it was doctored by like Brainiac or Zod, and it's going to tie into a later movie. But I do think there was a chance that the footage was doctored. I was surprised to see Bradley Cooper in this movie. And I saw an interview with James Gunn that Bradley Cooper was chosen because pretty much every other candidate was like 60 years old. And he's like, Jor-El should have had a kid when he was younger. Because the implication with a 60-year-old Jor-El is that he had a baby and then Krypton got destroyed, which is crazy. It was cool to see William Reeve in this, the son of Christopher Reeve. He was just a TV reporter, and I thought that was really cool. Trying to think of other spoilers. Like I said, the Mr. Terrific fight was incredible. Seeing him use his key spheres was really sick. Crypto helping Superman in the fight against his clone. I don't know why people are upset about that. People were like, oh, well, Superman's weak. He needed help in this fight. Superman gets beat a lot in the comic books. He's been beaten by Bizarro, Zod, Doomsday. What's that guy's name? Oh no, this is embarrassing. Oh no. He has laser eyes. This is weird. He's been beaten by Lobo. That's not who I was thinking of, but he's been beaten by Lobo. He's kind of gotten the crap beat out of him a couple of times versus people like Shazam, Batman, Green Lanterns pieced him up a little bit, but not, I don't think, fully won the fight. And then the guy I'm thinking of, it is very embarrassing that I cannot think of his name. A lot of people compare him to Thanos, but I cannot think of. Oh, it's Darkseid. Darkseid. He gets beat by Darkseid a lot, and he's fighting a clone of himself. This is pretty much him versus Bizarro. Bizarro is also not very intelligent. He's also, I think, a tiny bit stronger than Superman, like Lex Luthor says this clone is. I mean, it makes sense that he's losing the fight. The other fight that he had against the engineer was also him versus Ultraman. It wasn't like it was just the engineer fighting him. Ultraman was messing him up in that fight. I mean, there's no moment where Superman's losing a fight against an opponent that he shouldn't be losing a fight against. Like I said earlier, it's established. This was the first fight he lost in 3 years. Like, the guy has a solid win record, and people are hung up on just the Ultraman fights and the fact that Krypto had to help him in the fight, which I don't understand the problem with. But I think he was strong enough. I like that you got to see him use his like cold breath more often in this. Your fight with his clone was really good. I don't love it as much as the Mr. Terrific fight, but the clone fight was incredible. The Kaiju fight was pretty good, but mostly because you got to see him interacting with the other heroes. So I thought that was really cool. I do want to see what his dynamic will be with Batman in future projects. The Supergirl moment at the end of the movie was really cool to see. Because I didn't realize Supergirl was going to be in this movie. It was spoiled for me before I saw the movie, but when it was building up to this, I did not realize she was going to be in this movie. And it was just really interesting to see her at the end there interacting with Krypto, getting beat up a little bit by the dog. Superman bringing up that he likes to go to planets with red suns to get drunk. That was a little bit of lore drop there that was really fun to see. And I like the idea that this is going to be a kind of immature Supergirl. Because I feel like that's not something we've fully explored in a movie or a TV show of the really immature Supergirl. So I'm excited to see that. But I feel like I'm forgetting stuff. 100% I feel like I'm forgetting stuff. I did like the kryptonite poisoning. I should bring that up. I don't remember seeing kryptonite poisoning in previous projects, but it was cool to see in this because it was a little bit of nod to the kryptonite poisoning that he can get in the comic books. But I did love this. Oh, random thing. The Hall of Justice has a mural painted around the top of the Hall of Justice, and Wildcat was in the mural. I can't talk today. Wildcat was in the mural, and that was a really cool thing to see. Because I didn't expect Wildcat. He's like a boxer in the comic books. That was part of the Justice Society of America, and he kind of gives Batman vibes a little bit. But it's pretty much a guy dressed up as a cat. I think he gives Batman vibes to me because the costume has the little horns, but it's supposed to be like cat ears. I love Wildcat. He's a really cool character and just a really sick character design. I like that he has the wrap around his hands like a boxer would. And I'm excited to see whether or not that means that we will get some spin-off stuff of previous superheroes, like people that are in the Justice Society of America, because it would be so cool to see a Wildcat movie. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I think that's all I have right now. I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot. So if there's anything else you guys want to talk about with the Superman movie, just leave a comment. If it is going to be a spoiler moment that you want to talk about in the comments, please proceed the comment with spoiler in capital letters. That way, anybody that might comment that hasn't fully seen the movie can read the comment without getting spoiled. But I think that's all I've got. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. It went longer than I expected to. And if you guys did like it, please leave a like. If you want to see more stuff like this, subscribe to the channel. I like talking about movies that I've watched. And other than that, guys, I hope everybody is having an amazing day. And until next time, peace.